Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, I'd like to take a look at a Mega Latias rogue deck. So basically, I was just kind of like poking around Limitless TCG, going through all the tournaments, looking for an interesting deck to try out on the ladder, and I came across this really interesting, well, I guess you could say a donk deck, because that's kind of what this deck wants to do, really. But yeah, it was by the player DigiDonuts, and they went 2-4-0, which, okay, I'll admit is not the greatest track record for an event, of course, but I did think the deck was really interesting, and it really got me wondering, does Mega Latias actually have decent potential in the meta? So it has 280 HP, it's a basic, which is really handy, because it means we can use Latias EX and basically just pivot around all our Pokemon, which is really nice. It also has the attack Strafe, which for one colors does 40 damage, and you may switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So kind of like the main strategy behind this deck is that we basically want to use Brute Bonnet's Toxic Powder ability, so we poison both active Pokemon, and then we just use Strafe, and then do 40 damage. Our opponent's now poisoned. We then switch with Strafe, so we don't get poisoned at all, and then we switch into something like Pecharunt, for example, and now that poison effect is now 5 more damage counters. So yeah, very easy to KO evolving Pokemon using this method. And we can also switch into something like Mimikyu throughout the rest of the game, which does have the very powerful ability Safeguard, which just says prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX and V. And we do play Psychic Energy in this deck, so it is actually possible to attack with Mimikyu as well. But typically, you might just want to free retreat Mimikyu with using Latias into Mega Latias, and then, you can just use Strafe again, and then, the cycle repeats. And we're also playing Crispin in this deck, so you can actually use Illusionary Impulse. I think it's called Illusory? Yeah, Illusory Impulse for a Fire Psychic Colorless, which is a little bit expensive, but Crispin will get you there with several mana attachments, which does 300 damage, but you do have to discard all energy, so it is a bit expensive, but due to our poison modifiers from Brute Bonnet and as well as like Perilous Jungle, it is possible to KO some really big Pokemon with this. But typically you just want to keep using Strafe, which honestly like has me wondering, is 2 Mimikyu like the play honestly with this list? Like I know you can't really run less of any other Pokemon because they're also important. Like Squawkabilly's key for the early turns. You do need 2 Mega Latias in case one is prized. 2 Latias is also really important, again, in case one is prized. But I do wonder if maybe a second copy of Mimikyu would be really good, just because aside from like that first initial KO, or like the first 2 KOs even, I do think Mimikyu is actually really important in this deck. So I'm definitely thinking that maybe 2 Mimikyu is necessary, just in case you prize one, But yeah, as for the trainers, we've got 4 copies of Carmine, so we've got to go fast with this deck. If you go first, you may use his attack during your first turn. Discard your hand and draw 5 cards, because it is worth mentioning that even though we're not playing Meloetta, we can still get turn 1 poison donks, because of course we can still trigger Brute Bonnet's ability, and then, leave Pecharunt in the active if possible, and then we can do, the 5 poison between turns, which is nice. And hopefully as well find, like your Perilous Jungle Stadium, which we do play 4 copies of. And this increases poison damage by 2 damage counters. So, Perilous Jungle, definitely where it's at. But it just means that there's actually potential for you to actually get, like, decent KOs as well. Like, you're not just relying on Latias. You can actually do some chip damage with poison as well, which is nice. Also got Mochi in here, by the way. Just so attacks used by the poison Pokemon this card's attached to do 40 more damage. So if you have, like, say you do actually leave Latias in the active spot, and it is poisoned with Brute Bonnet, then you can still trigger Mochi and then, switch into another Pokemon after using Strafe. So you can actually do 80 damage, and then, the poison will trigger, and then you'll get like the +5 if you do Pecharunt, for example. So a lot of nice, fun little combos to try out as well with this list, which is really cool. So yeah, 3 Crispin just for some energy acceleration, because 3 energy is quite expensive just to do 300 though. But, it is a lot of damage. It's a good trade-off, but still, it is expensive. 3 research, 2 boss, because we do want to gust things eventually. 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Nest Ball, because we can't really... Well, you could play Precious Trolley, but, I think Precious Trolley is just so much better when you're running Arven. So, you don't really want to play Arven in a deck like this. Yeah, Arven would find you your booster capsules, which is nice. So, maybe there's an argument for it. But I think, Precious Trolley doesn't really suit this list very well. I can kind of see why this player went for Nest Ball, actually. And Secret Box is also really cool. Being able to find any item, any tool card, a supporter, and a stadium is really nice, because it's a way of finding Perilous Jungle. Because the stadiums are just so annoying to find in this day and age. So being able to find your stadium, your tool card, your item, and your support for the next turn is really nice, and there is plenty of different tool cards as well to choose from. So, big fan of Secret Box, honestly, and the Nest Ball combo. Also got 2 Night Stretcher, 2 Pokégear, always like to see Pokégear, and 1 Pal Pad, because, Pal Pad's cool. I do respect Pal Pad, actually. It also means you can get away with only running 2 boss, because, 2 boss is not a lot of gusting. Like, Counter Capture would be nice, but then again, you are probably taking the first prize card. Like, this deck wants to be aggressive. But yeah, I would say like the main weakness of this deck is probably going to be like your opponent just ignoring your walls, like ignoring your Pecharunt, ignoring your Mimikyu, maybe even ignoring Mega Latias, and just boss killing Fez and Mew, which is kind of a pain with these sorts of decks, but like it's to be expected, and it's a viable strategy to beating them as well. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't really crop up too much, and you're able to get quick wins, and as well as just good donks as well. But also, if you can't get Latias down, this deck is also playing 3 copies of Jet Energy, so it's really easy to actually just slap this on Latias, turn 1 going second, and then immediately strafe. So, very easy to set up. But yeah, I would definitely like to try out different versions of this. I would also like to try out different versions of Mega Latias as well in some sort of Ho-Oh box. So this probably won't be the last list that I cover, but still shout outs to Digi Donuts for providing the list. And yeah, thank you for watching. Yeah, I think I'm going to Ultra Ball here, getting rid of probably Mew, actually, because I think we're just going to research anyway. So, like, yeah, I don't think we need Mew in this matchup. So I'm going to Ultra Ball, go grab Mega Latias. So yeah, I'm going to bench Mega Latias, whack a Jet Energy on him. And this is fine because, like, we're going to get the KO here anyway. But I think I'm going to go ahead and use Research. And we could honestly just Nest Ball here for a Mimikyu, because we'll be able to find Latias EX anyway next turn. And then we can literally just strafe. And then, yeah. So we want to pick a Mimikyu. I think that's fine for an easy turn 1 going second prize card. So my opponent is probably looking to use Teal Mask Ogapon and use Boss, which is a little bit annoying, to be honest, but it's not the end of the world. Alright, Bayleaf. So they probably want to use, I guess, like Meganium. Yeah, probably just Meganium, actually. Honestly, our Mega Latias could tank a hit from Meganium, so like we could also just want to kill Ogapon next turn if we really wanted to, using Crispin. Which honestly might not be such a bad idea. Just remove some energy on the board, because like we need to stop like Venusaur coming out to play. Yeah, I think that could be a good move actually. Or we just strafe and just do a ton of poison damage. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking here, because we could do big poison, get some pressure on Ogapon. They might also be running the Festival Lead Diplin, which would give them a way to KO Mimikyu that way. But yeah, I'm kind of curious. I forget what Meganium's attack actually does as well. So yeah, they use Teal Dance. No sign of Venusaur yet, so maybe they're not playing it. It could just be Hydrapple EX. Okay, so yeah, Grass Energy on Meganium. Yeah, we could just... Yeah, we could just remove Ogapon, I guess. Maybe that's a good idea. Gear. Although, I could try and boss. Actually, no, it'll be fine. I don't mind doing it this way. So what kind of energy we've got left in deck? So I did discard some earlier. Okay, we've got a Psychic, that's fine. Yeah, I think we should just do this. So yeah, I'll Crispin. Get both out the deck. Put the fire in the hand. Attach Psychic. Attach Fire and G. And we'll free retreat. So if they have Rare Candy Hydrapple, that is kind of annoying, admittedly. But I kind of just want to put a lot of pressure on them at this stage. Maybe it's not the best move, but like, the thing is with Mimikyu is that they were going to KO with Meganium. So I don't hate this option because I know Mega Latias can tank a hit. At least one hit. Okay, so is this the one that like prevents me from... Yeah. Okay. So that is kind of annoying. I have to see what they do with here. Okay, so there's Meganium. So it's still a 2-shot for them, like they can do 140. Alright, another Lily's Determination. So to be fair, I could have just like left the Mimikyu. Nest Ball for Teal Mask. Okay. So they still need... Yeah, okay, I was going to say, they still need an energy. Get rid of Iono. Which is fine. Problem is, we can't really do enough damage to get rid of Meganium in a single hit. We can do like a decent amount, but not a lot, so I might just have to feed them Pecharunt. They might also look to boss, so could look for Big Charm in the deck. Could say try and like save Mega Latias here. He is worth a lot of prizes. So yeah, 160 HP, kind of annoying. So there's a Solar Beam, which we knew was coming. So, do we want anything in this hand? I mean, we kind of do, right? Because we don't want to lose all our Night Stretchers too soon. So I might hold off just a sec. Yeah, we'll use Toxic Powder. I'm surprised we haven't seen a Stadium yet, though. A Stadium would be nice. Then we'll Strafe. And then, yes. Give them Pecharunt. So they do take quite a bit of damage here. So this way they will get knocked out coming back into our turn, actually. Which I hadn't really thought of. So that's pretty good for us, if they choose not to retreat. If we had like another Crispin as well, and we had more energy in deck, we could go for another big Latias play, because they might just retreat into Ogerpon here. Yeah, that's fine. That's a bit annoying. Yeah, I'm getting punished for doing the big 300. I should have just played it safe. And Mimikyu, I guess. I mean, that is Jet Energy, which is good. Actually, no. Nearly made a big mistake there. Toxic Powder. Can bench that. And yeah, we'll do this. Go, we'll research here. Okay, we do get jungle, that's nice. And strafe again. Yes, do want to switch to Mimikyu. So yeah, I think it was a mistake being so aggressive and letting Mega Latias take a hit. Like, they still could have probably killed us with Myriad Leaf Shower. But like, I think we should have focused on chewing down Meganium first. So I think Meganium was always like going to be the biggest threat. And like, we don't really have an answer for Mega Venusaur. Like, if we got... The thing is, I don't think we have another Night Stretcher in deck. I think it's prized. And we do need a Psychic Energy back if we want to kill it. Which is a bit of a shame. Because I think they're in a really good position because they have 5 energy on the board. So yeah. They could also just boss to the last prize because after they've KO'd Mimikyu with Meganium, they can then just KO something else with Hydrapple. So unfortunately, I don't think we've won this one. But I do think we've been close enough. I'm surprised their deck can function though because they've got so many moving pieces. Like, it's a lot to like set up and things. But yeah, having so much energy means they can retreat so often, which is annoying. So yeah, we can do the poison. We can kill Meganium at the very least, which is good. But yeah, like, we literally don't have... I guess Mochi's not bad. Yeah, we could like Mochi the Bloodmoon. I'll just Mochi Mega Latias. I don't hate the idea of carrying Meganium though. The thing is, do I want a Carmine here or not? Because I kind of want to boss. I don't need to boss. I don't need to boss yet. Just do Pecharunt. Because we do have another Pecharunt somewhere in the deck. I don't know where it is. It might be prized. It might just be prized. Okay, Ultra Ball, that's kind of useless, sadly. I was hoping for a better prize. So yeah, fortunately they only have 2 energy on the board now, which is good. They can still Mega Venusaur this turn if they want to, though. And at that point, I don't really think we have an answer. Unless we get the last Night Stretcher, then we can Psychic Energy Latias and one-shot them with Illusionary Impulse, which would be epic. But aside from that, I don't think we can do anything else. Boss, okay. Boss kind of sucks. Yeah, boss is like the big bane of these donk decks. We play too many fragile 2 prizes. Mega Latias should be able to tank a hit here, though. Yeah, they don't know what to boss. Fairs. Because everything we can retreat. Like, they can't want to kill this. We can free retreat this. This is fine. We have another booster capsule, so like... Okay, my opponent just concedes. Fair dues. Yeah, that's fair. Like, I still think Mega Venusaur would have been a pain to KO because if we had prized the last Night Stretcher, then yeah, I still think we would have lost that.